Hey everyone. I had planned to get on here and talk about something different, but we're gonna pivot and gonna talk a little bit about me today. A lot of people have been asking where I've been. To put it in a nutshell, I had to take a step back and do some self-reflecting, self-evaluating, correcting, polishing, however we want to say it. I just had to take a step back and get myself together because the past, as long as I can remember, um, things have gradually began to spiral. In the past couple years, my spiral has just it reached a point to where I had to take control and rebuild myself. Um, I was moving very reckless. I was hurting people, mistreating myself, hurting myself, um, and just not behaving in the way that I would like to behave and that I expect of myself. Um, a lot of times when you are a woman, especially a pretty girl, it's easy to lack character because you can just receive so many things by doing nothing. The way that it's set up is for a lot of us women, especially it's really set up this way for all women. It's just a matter of who capitalizes on it and how you choose to capitalize on it. But we're set up to just receive with a lot of times without doing anything. And when you are receiving things, a lot of times it's easy to just not be a good person and not have the character, the integrity, the morals that we should all have. And I was moving in a way that was towards that direction. And it there's no other way to say it. Like I was acting just terribly, like disgusting the way I was behaving and the way I was moving and the way I was treating people. So I just had to regain control because, like, as long as I can remember, I can go back in my memory and trace back certain occasions, certain life circumstances, things that have happened to me. And they all lead back to me being the common denominator of what went wrong, what was wrong. I can always point back to something that I could have done that would have made it go a different way. And I got tired of that. I got tired of that. Um, you have to take responsibility for your own life. And I had to do that. You know, all of my problems, literally every single one of my problems that I can think of, I am the reason why it went bad. I am. Even if other factors and other people did wrong too, it doesn't matter. I did wrong. I was foul. I played a part in why things went the way they went with everything. I can go back to childhood. I can go back to just relationships and friendships and jobs and just all these things. And it's just so easy to lack good character when you're a woman because you can get by. You can get by in life being nasty and rude and wrong and ignorant. You can get through life that way. And a lot of times you won't be checked. You will be okay. And That's no way to be. That's no way to live. That's not how God wants me to be. That's not how God wants us to be. And nothing good comes from that. Um, just so much I've been lacking inside, so much immaturity. I honestly feel like at my big age, I'm in my 30s, I feel like I'm just now growing up. I feel like I've been a little girl my whole life. I've been immature, childish, just lacking in so many areas because I've been living like a little girl. Um I haven't taken on responsibilities until I did my evaluation and started working on myself. I've just been living very childish, and it's time. It's past time, but it's definitely time to put on your big girl pants. Like that's what I had to tell myself. Like nobody's going to do it for me. Nobody's when judgment day comes, I'm the one who has to stand before God and account for my actions. That's why so many people are caught up in the world and the world's judgments and other people's judgment. We all have to stand before God. That is serious. You think that the world can ridicule you and humiliate you and bash you. There's no comparison to what it's going to be like when we have to explain every single decision, every single action, every single word to God. And the best thing that I could do for myself is reevaluate, slow down, shut up, sit somewhere and figure out what am I going to do to make the next 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90 years not the same as these past 30 something years. What am I going to do to reverse? And I mean, it can never truly be reversed, but to just improve because it's nobody's fault but mine. Everything has been my fault. And that's the only way you can make it better. That's the only way I could figure out to fix things is to just reevaluate, start over from scratch. And I'm still work in progress. I'm a forever student. I'm always going to have to work at being my best self and unlearning all these terrible habits that I have and replace them with the right habits, the right mentality, the right way of thinking. And that is to answer the question of where I've been. That's genuinely where I've been. Of course, I've had other things occur over the past almost year. So, of course, life and things have happened. But as far as stepping away from this, um, and in my self work too, it also is going to be a continued task to figure out how am I going to approach this because there's so many layers to different things and the way that the world is going and the way that the world is there's such a demonization of men and it scares me, it terrifies me because I don't want to live in a world where my child, my son, my dad, my uncles, my whoever that I care about is my partner, of course, um, is seen as a threat just for being male. And that's how things are being treated and spoken about as if us women, we're just so perfect and we've got it all figured out and we're all right. And men are just so bad and it's sick. I hear, when I have these conversations, women will bring up like these crazy incidences of, oh, haven't you heard that this percentage of men is doing this and they're committing that. And it's just like, okay, so we're judging men as a whole off of the worst of them. The worst of them is representing the collective, but the worst of us isn't supposed to represent us. It just doesn't make any sense. There's bad in every group, just like there's good and great and amazing in every group. And I just know for me, I want to be a part of the women that is the better of us. And I want to speak for and to women that are better of us, and guide of how we're supposed to treat men, the better of men, because most men are decent beings, if not great guys. There's so many great men out there. Men are essential to our everyday life, just like women are essential. Even with childbirth, people like to bring up, oh, women create life. Men create life too. What is a flower without the seed? What is fruit? What is vegetables? What are all the things that grow? They all start with the seed. Yes, we're the soil, we're the pot. We carry life, but at its core, the seed is the start, and that's our men. Our men are seeds that sow into the world. And we have to cherish our seeds, cherish our men, respect one another. One of my favorite songs, sidebar, is Beautiful Skin by Goody Mom. Literally, the line says, you have to respect yourself before I can. Before I can expect respect, I have to learn how to respect others. We have to learn how to respect others. We have to learn how to respect our men, and we will get respect back. We disrespect ourselves and then expect men to respect us. And that's just not how it works. I'm going to wrap it up. We can talk more in detail soon about anything. Just hop in the comments. Let me know what we should discuss next. I would read a couple pages out of the book, but I don't have it on hand right now. Let's see. I could go grab it real quick if you bear with me for a second. Um, I could go grab it and we can read a page or two. Yeah, just one. Mm. Okay, we are back. Shout out to you all if y'all have stayed thus far. Let's see here. Sometimes it takes a few minutes for it to unfreeze, so it's probably still a little frozen. I don't know why. I gotta figure out what's going on with that. Definitely gonna keep learning how all this works so I can improve on everything. But yeah, okay, it looks like we're back. Let's see. All right, so in case you didn't see to the end of the last video, so we're reading the book The Boy Crisis, just reading a couple pages each episode. So yeah. So we read a little bit of the introduction last time. I'm gonna just read a little bit of chapter one. So here's the first page of chapter one. The crisis of our son's mental health. Um, I know the algorithm trips about some of these words, so I'm gonna try, but murder and suicide. When a boy drives down the serpentine road of mental health, feeling depressed and isolated because he feels no one who knows the real him loves him, no one needs him, and there's no hope of that changing. He may one day find a cliff and drive off. That choice may be direct, as with suicide, or it may be indirect, as in a school shooting. School shootings are homicides that are also suicides. Even if the boy doesn't end his own life literally, for all practical purposes, his life is still ended. The rate of mass shootings has tripled since 2011. We blame gun violence in the media, violence in video games, and poor family values. Each is a plausible player, but our daughters live in the same homes with the same access to the same guns, video games, and media, and are raised with the same family values. Our daughters are not killing, our sons are. The murder-suicide combination of school and other mass shootings is largely young white boys' way of driving off the cliff at the end of mental health road. Consider three of the most notorious white male shooters: Adam Lanza from Sandy Hook, Elliot Rogers, UC Santa Barbara, and Dylan Roof of the Emmanuel African Methodist Episcopal Church in Charleston. The National Academy of Science reports that the increase in suicide among white males led to as many white males' lives lost to suicide as have been lost to AIDS. African American males, by contrast, stick with murder and being murdered. Thus, while only 6% of the overall population, Black males make up 43% of murder victims. More Black boys between 10 and 20 are killed by homicide than by the next 9 leading causes of death combined. Suicide's influence as the pressures of the male role and hormones increase. Before puberty, the suicide rates among males and females are equal. Remind me, please. I want to do a video one day talking about it. It says hormones. I want to talk about hormones in boys. That's very interesting and near to dear to my heart. So, should talk about that soon. Between 15 and 19, boys commit suicide at 4 times the rate of girls. And between 20 and 24, the rate of male suicide is between 5 and 6 times that of female. Yet by 2015, in good economic times, boys and men were committing suicide 3.5 times more often than women. Is this because females are inherently better at handling stress? Perhaps not. When men and women are exposed to similar pressures to perform as among men and women in the military, the female suicide rate soars almost as high as the male rate. But men like Brad are prone to doing it differently. In 2016, Brad returned from his third tour of duty in Afghanistan with a reasonable amount of economic security. But he felt like a stranger to both his wife and himself and quickly alienated his children with his temper. His PTSD and the tension at home left him feeling like a burden. One day after losing his temper again, Brad bought his wife her favorite flowers and their children the newest PlayStation. Gave his wife and kids, especially long and loving hugs and kisses, and took out the older of the family cars. He said he was going shopping. Instead, he sped quickly down a curved road and skidded off a cliff. Looking back, Brad's widow knew he had committed suicide. After he'd lose it, he'd always say he was worth more as an insurance policy than a husband and dad. But because he had faked it as a car accident so the family could get the insurance, he wasn't counted as suicide. Since both young and old men are often more motivated to commit suicide when they feel their loved ones will benefit more from their money than themselves, they have a need to cover it up so that the insurance will pay. So, although more veterans commit suicide every year than were killed in the war in Iraq and Afghanistan, even that staggering number is probably a vast underestimation of the true suicide rate of male veterans, as well as older men, who are also, as well, C and Part B, are prone to feel they are worth more to their family dead. And it there. Just sit on that, honestly. What can you say to that? I thank y'all if y'all made it this far. Thank you for clicking on this video, regardless of how far you made it. God bless you. I look forward to talking to you all soon.